Tudor recently announced the Pelagos 39, a highly anticipated release by the brand and also by myself. The question is it good enough for me to pull the trigger? Hey guys, welcome to the channel. My name is Alex and today we're going to talk about the new Tudor Pelagos 39. And it's a slimmer version of the Tudor Pelagos 42mm version that's been around for quite some time. There are a lot of nice and interesting things about the new watch. Also a couple of concerns, I must say, from my end at least, but also from reading other people's comments on forums and as well as on other YouTube videos. There is not maybe 100% home run from Tudor. So when Tudor released the Tudor Pelagos 39, I was visiting Geneva Watch Day, so I didn't really have that much time to take a closer look at the watch itself or read more about it. So I've been doing that as well as I finally have it in hand too. So it's easier for me to answer my own questions regarding this watch, because as with the Tudor Black Bay Pro that I made a video of earlier this year and that you can find up here, I had some concerns regarding that particular watch thickness, and with the Pelagos 39 I had questions regarding the Sunray effect on the dial and the bezel, but most importantly on the dial, because I'm not a huge fan of Sunray or sunburst dials. And with the Tudor Pelagos always being a tool watch in a titanium case with a matte black dial, I really hoped that the Sunray effect wouldn't be too much of a eyesore for me, so to say. And we'll get back to that in a bit. And in the end of this video, I'll give you my pros and cons of the watch as well. But before we do that, let's talk about what we have in hand today. And when I saw the release of the Pelagos 39, I was really thinking for myself that this could probably be my first modern Tudor, since I crossed off the Black Bay Pro from the list, and with the introduction of a more wearable size of the Pelagos, this could be the one that got me into the modern Tudors, because in all honesty I think the Pelagos is a much better looking watch than the Black Bay 58. Alright, so let's go through the basic stuff of the watch first. We have a 39mm case, obviously, that is just below 12mm in thickness. It's around 11.8. A length of the case that is 47mm, which is nice. It's 1mm smaller than the Black Bay 58, but at the same time it's 1mm wider than the Black Bay 58, since it has a bit of an overhang of the bezel. We have a 21mm lug width, which is an interesting choice. We saw that on the bigger brother Rolex, they widened the lug width to 21mm on their 41mm Submariners, for example. And I prefer 20mm because of the strap options that you have. It's many more straps that are available for 20 rather than 21mm, but it's a minor detail. We have 200 meters of water resistance, which is perfectly fine for everyday wear, and on the contrary to the older Pelagos, the 42mm version that had 500 meters of water resistance. We have a matte finished grade 2 titanium case and bracelet, and that is one of the things I like about the Pelagos, is that titanium has a very different approach than stainless steel. It's much more subtle in my eyes. It's a darker metal, and it just goes hand in hand with the tool watch that the Pelagos is. Ceramic insert for the bezel that is fully lumed, which is a really nice touch that's also present on the Tudor Pelagos FXD. And also, of course, we have that Sunray finish on the ceramic insert, and that is something that seems to be a bit dividing between people. For me, this bezel gives a cool effect, I must say. It has some shine to it, and it really changes appearance a lot in different lighting conditions. So it's, in some lighting conditions it's very gray, I'd say, and in some it's very black. So it's a cool effect. It's a finish that is either love it or hate it thing, I'd say. For me personally, I'd prefer it probably completely matte, but that's just my 2 cents. Another good thing with the Tudor Pelagos 39 is the T-fit clasp. It's very nice. It has 8 millimeters of micro adjustment. It also has a diver extension of 25 millimeters. And also what's nice with this watch is that it comes with a complementary rubber strap that both looks good and feels very good. And I've been able to try on the watch on both the bracelet and rubber strap, and I really like the rubber strap as well. The crown and bezel are easy to grip and operate, and the crown also has the Tudor shield on it. I like the crown guards. They are similar to pointed crown guards that you could find on vintage Rolex Submariners. So the big talking point and one of the biggest pet peeves for me with this watch is the sunburst or Sunray dial. And at first when I got it, it was in indoor conditions with good lighting and I didn't really see the sunburst. But as soon as you come out in direct sunlight, the sunburst or sunray effect is very obvious. And this is the part that still concerns me a bit even after wearing this watch for a couple of days. And yeah, it is what it is, guys. I mean, you have to decide for yourself if the watch is for you. I always recommend trying watches on before making any decisions if it's for you or if it's not. And I guess at the ADs, the lighting conditions are very different compared to what they are in, you know, real life, so to say. And I mean, in direct harsh light, it's very clear, the sunray effect, but in all other conditions, I'd say from, you know, soft natural light to indoors, you don't really notice it. As seen on the Black Bay Pro, we have solid blocks of lume for the hour markers, which I really like. I think it's a cool touch. It gives a very nice 3D effect of the watch. And speaking of the lume, it's really good and it shines really bright. And there's also lume in the markers on the bezel, so it really shines bright in darkness, this watch. Movement-wise, we have the in-house caliber MT5400. It's the same movement that's powering the Black Bay 58, for example. It's a very well-known movement by this stage, and it's a reliable one as well. It's COSC certified, but has a better accuracy than the COSC certification standards. And also it has a 70-hour power reserve. So it's a good, reliable workhorse movement that is very well within the COSC specs. Price-wise, this watch is at a very attractive price point, and it's priced at 4,170 euros or 4,400 US dollars. And I think that this watch offers a lot of bang for the buck, because looking at what we get a very nice, well-built, robust die watch with a nice case proportion, with a nice bracelet and clasp under 5,000 euros, and that's very interesting as well. It has the in-house movement, of course. So I think the price point is very attractive for this one. And with all that covered, the basics, the movement, the case, the dial, the bracelet and everything like that, let's talk about the pros and cons as I see it, and this is my personal opinion. Let's start with the good parts, and I think that this is a really good looking watch. I've had a vintage Tudor Snowflake in the past, so I've always had a good eye for the Tudor pieces. And for me, the Black Bay 58 has never really spoken to me, but the Pelagos has been one of those pieces that I've always had a good eye for. And I like the fact that it's a titanium case and bracelet. It gives you a really lightweight feel compared to the steel pieces. However, it doesn't feel jingly jangly. It feels very robust and well built. You also have these 3D lume blocks that I like. You have a very reliable movement. And all in all, if you look at the watch and considering the price point, I think it's a very good purchase. But on the downside for me, there is this Sunray dial. I think this would be a no-brainer for me if it was a matte black dial. Now I'm not quite sure. I think I had to think and sleep a couple of nights more before considering pulling the trigger. But we have a big but here, and that is the availability at the ADs. I spoke to a retailer yesterday in Sweden, and they told me that they've closed the list a long time ago. There's no chance in hell you can get one of these. And that's the down part, or a big con for me, is that they make a very nice product here, but you can't really get your hands on it. So I don't know if they try to adopt the Rolex strategy somehow, the bigger brother, because I don't really see why they should, you know, limit the production somehow. And I mean, people are going to queue for these for years and years, I guess, which defeats the purpose of a cheaper version of a Rolex watch, because you share a lot of similarities from the bigger brother, and in terms of quality and everything like that, it's a very nice product, and I don't see why they should limit these ones in the production if that's the case, but it seems like that, at least, because you can't really even queue for it at the AD. I don't know how the situation is in other places around the globe, but that's the situation right here in Stockholm, Sweden, and that's a big con for me. Also, the press example I have my hands on, it really looks beaten up, and I don't know how this watch will look after a couple of years daily wear and tear, because I don't know if the guy that had it before me was in some kind of accident, if he fell on the floor and just scratched the whole clasp. But I've also read comments on other YouTube videos that people are suffering from heavy wear and tear, especially on the clasp. And the clasp is also one of those things that I think is a bit on the con side, and that is the length of the clasp. It's very long. So if you have a smaller wrist, let's say like mine, 6.5 inches or 16.5 centimeters, the clasp takes up almost the whole space on your wrist. And I don't know if it's the case because of the diver's extension. I guess that's the case. And that's also one thing, since they made the whole watch a less tooly watch than the Pelagos 42. I mean, it's 200 meters instead of 500 meters. It's without the helium escape valve and also with a different clasp system. I don't really see the need for a diver's extension, to be fully honest. And even how it's marketed by Tudor themselves, it's marketed more as a, you know, go anywhere, do anything piece, like a more urban timepiece, you know, whatever. It's not maybe as tooly as the predecessor, the 42mm version was. So I don't really see the need for a diver's extension, but that's just me. I don't really dive, so I don't really care. So yeah, I mean, for me, they could have skipped the diver's extension and made the clasp a bit shorter, because now it's very long. So I also, once again, recommend, if you have smaller wrist than 16.5 centimeters, try it on and see how you feel about the clasp. So yeah, that's it. I mean, I don't think I've been become any smarter in terms of making up my mind regarding the Tudor Pelagos 39, if it's for me in the future or if it's not. I still have to make up my mind regarding the dial especially, and yeah, that's it. But as a whole, I really like the watch. I really like that they made a more wearable version of the Tudor Pelagos 39. And I believe that it looks really, really good. So that's it. Thank you for tuning in, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments what you think about the watch. What's your pros and cons regarding the Pelagos 39? It would mean a lot if you hit the thumbs up and subscribe to the channel to help it grow. And stay tuned for the next video.